So for those who haven't seen the title of the video or are wondering what we're doing, that building there behind is the Amsterdam Dungeon. You can see the red awning there that says welcome to the dungeon. Now, I have covered this before, but inside that building used to be an old church, and you can see at the top there's a big archway. It's like a dome. It's all part of the original features. Now, the dungeon has been built inside, but at times during the ride you can actually see that. So we're in the gallows field. If you look up, you can see right up into the church ceiling. It's a big vaulted ceiling. But while we're here in Amsterdam, the team have kindly allowed us to go behind the scenes to have a look at what's going on, how the Amsterdam Dungeon has been built, and what is remaining of the original church that's there. So we're going to go and have a look around inside. There's some stuff we're not allowed to film. There are original gravestones in there, and they request that nobody films those or takes photos of those. But we'll see what we can get hold of. But yeah, it's a fascinating building, and you wouldn't know, when you're actually in the dungeon, you wouldn't know what's going on inside. So yeah, we'll see what we can see. Show too much of the, no, try not to show too much of the dungeon.
It's
okay. So yeah, you'll have to ignore the sound effects from the dungeon. But this is the gallows. What's this scene called? Gallows Field. And you come through the maze there, and then you come through. And if you're in the Gallows Field section, and you look up when the lights are flashing, you can see the dome. But as you can see, that is the original features from the church from about 300 years ago. The dungeon itself is basically built in a box inside the dungeon. And for those who remember, there used to be a roller coaster in this room. It was removed about 10 years ago. But yeah, quite impressive.
Yes, thank you. Someone's on the way. It'll take a couple of minutes.
No worries.
Oh yeah, you can also see like old architecture.
So if anyone can see, there is a outline there. Underneath that is one of the original graves of this church. We're not allowed to film it because we don't want to give away the name of the person who's there, but yeah, you can see they've got holes there where they can basically lift it up and access can be given underneath. So we're going to have a look, but yeah, unfortunately you're not going to be able to join us. Okay, just show that it's under there. Okay, just show that it's under there. So it's hard to see in the dark, but that is the actual original organ from the church. You can see the pipes going all the way up. And if you wonder what that box is, that basically that is the dungeon is built in boxes inside the church. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, they basically the boxes don't touch the. They are like standalone boxes in the show, so they don't touch the walls. The church is over 300 years old, and what they can't do is cause any damage, because if they ever close the dungeon, they need to restore the church to how it was when they got it. So yeah, does the organ actually work?
No, unfortunately no.
Oh.
I think we dismantled it like partially because. Yeah, if ever like a mouse or rat or whatever would walk all over it, you would still hear the noise.
Oh wow, that'd be scary.
I heard someone say that on a windy day, that you can still hear the pipes. Sorry, battery is empty.
Wow.
but it would be cool if it was still working and we could use it as part of the show.
Yeah, every now and then
That
just
would be like a Beethoven-esque, like, come inside.
just with the atmospheric dungeon music in the background, it's quite spooky alone, just being
It's
in
quite
here.
haunting, yeah.
Yeah.
Over here, there's the pipes.
Oh wow, yeah.
You want to see the mechanics of the...
Lovely that word. Dun, dun.
I think we have to go the other way around.
Okay.
Then you can see the mechanics of the whole organ.
So this is, so yeah, this would be overlooking.
Yeah, the forest is right behind this wall.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Can I step on that?
Yeah. So here,
Oh, and the bellows.
yeah, like the lungs of the whole.
Yeah, that would go up and down.
Yeah. Then here the stair. You can go up the stair if you like.
Oh, thank you.
And above there's like the whole the pipe mechanism.
Wow, the pipes are impressive.
Yeah, it's great, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, if that suddenly went off now, I'd shit myself.
I wish I could. If only.
You come up to have a quick look, Rob? Very, very impressive.
I think it's one of the only or last like wooden elevators. Because there's, yeah, I can't open it now because the elevator is not here, but it's like an old elevator. It's always not really nice to go in it, but we have it for people with what do you call it, a disability?
Yeah, mobility issues.
Yeah. I believe it goes all the way up.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, come on, take a step. The smell is horrible. I think that's also one of the reasons that if you want to go really up, you have to wear like a mask and everything, just for breathing, because it's just old, dusty mold.
Yeah.
Well, hello, and as you can tell, we are back because we didn't film a video when we came out of the dungeon, and we only realised when we went to edit it just now. So, yeah, let's talk about it. So, although there was no new experiences this year at the Amsterdam Dungeon, no new show for Halloween, we just reached out to them and said, is there any chance we can have a look behind the scenes? When we were there last year, they told us about the church and sort of pulled back a curtain and showed us the dome, but we asked if we get a full behind the scenes tour, and just want to thank the team at Amsterdam Dungeon for allowing that. They don't let that many people in, but yeah, they were happy to show us around. So one of the things we'd always talked about before is the main vaulted area that you can see from the gallows field, and there's quite a bit of footage of that in there. The church itself is over 300 years old. The site has always had a church on it. They've got lots of historic records of churches being there in the past, but due to the Great Fire of Amsterdam, the original building was destroyed and this new church was built well over 300 years ago. When it was built, there were, like a lot of churches you have over in this country, there were like obviously tombs and gravestones underneath at the bottom of the bottom of the church. And as you can see, those are still there. So that reaches all the way through through the dungeon and into the Adidas store next door. I don't know if the Adidas store even know that they've got graves underneath them, but as you saw in the video there, the team at the dungeon were happy to let us see the graves, but just out of pure respect for the people that are buried there, decided not to show us the names, and that was fine. So we couldn't show the name of the person who was buried in that grave. But you could see the numbers in the corner. That was about grave number 436, and they did say that the whole floor is covered in them. So the dungeon, as you saw in the video, is then basically a box that's built inside the church. It hardly touches the walls. If they ever were to leave the venue, they would have to return the church to what it was like before. So that means you walk down corridors and you see the original walls down one side, and the set, looks like a theatre set on the other side. I think I've got a picture of that there. If I have, I'll drop that in now. And it just means that the whole show is a box within a box within the church. Now, there are certain features that you can see, the main flooring, the main steps as you go in, and the floor. A lot of the doors are the original church doors. But then once you actually step into the dungeon, everything there is a theatrical set. We were able to go all around behind the scenes, like all the dungeons. There's a rabbit warren of connecting corridors between each of the scenes. We went through while there was a live tour going on. So we were sort of dodging the live actors, or the live actors and the group as they were going through. It was quite funny to hear people being sort of scared, or some screams or whatever, especially in the gallows field. There's lots of screams in the gallows field section, and just being stood on the other side of the door and talking through it, seeing them go through. One of the things we did, I didn't film it, but we were able to stand in the mirror maze. There's a one-way mirror in the mirror maze, so we were able to stand there watching people walk through the mirror maze, and that was really cool. There was a scare button there, which they do use in some shows. If we'd press the button, suddenly a light would have come up and the people in the maze would have seen us. But because we were just dressed in modern clothes, it was like probably not the best thing to scare people. Behind the scenes, there was obviously areas where the actors can stop and rest. Some of the scenes are connected. They've got a little green room where between scenes the actors can stop and meet each other. There's also a big sort of staircase at the back near where we accessed the organ, and you'd have, because it's on multiple levels, you'd have the torturer up in the top scene. When he'd finish his scene, he'd come out and sit on the stairs and check his phone or do whatever, and there might be somebody in the next scene, and they would be able to chat and talk to each other. Because, as I say, in the dungeon, you go up and then you sort of come through different levels. So we asked them, because it's built in a church, what does that actually mean? And now the team said there are lots of moments where when all the special effects and sounds are turned off, it's really spooky in there. Now, just being in the gallows field, hearing the movement of supposedly the swaying of the trees and the bodies, that's spooky enough and a darkened atmosphere. But the team said when the lights are turned off and they're closing down the attraction at night, a lot of people don't like being in certain areas of the attraction on their own. Whether you believe in supernatural or paranormal or whatever, again, it could just be, because it feels so creepy in there that, people imagine things. But a lot of the team have heard their names suddenly called or whispered in their ear. They know they're the only ones in the attraction. They're just closing down, turning the lights off, and suddenly they hear a whisper in their ear. They've heard strange noises. There are certain areas where, like real cold spots, where they feel something weird is happening or has happened. In the past, they've had a paranormal investigator from America came in, and without prompting them, she located the exact spot. And she said, there's something bad is here, something cold. It could just be it's connected to a cold, an air vent or whatever. There's always reasonable explanations for stuff like that. But the team are respectful of what's in there. Some of the actors have said they've seen a child in like Edwardian, Victorian type clothing, like something out of a Charles Dickens novel. Obviously, there are no children characters within the show, but people have said they've seen a young boy in there, which is just fascinating. Just adds more to the mystery and the experience. And then obviously we'll talk about the grave. You know, as we said, you know, they wouldn't let us film the actual grave because it just out of respect for the names of the people that are actually buried there. But yeah, it's quite spooky that all of that is built on top of that. The other thing to mention, the organ is all there. The church organ, you can see it. It's just been basically it's been disconnected so that they don't have any problems if a mouse or a rat or anything runs over it. So yeah, I think that's probably about it. We just want to really thank the team at Amsterdam Dungeon for letting us in and showing us around. We saw a lot more than we put on video. Obviously, it's very difficult. It's very dark in there. You can see most of the time we're just doing stuff by spotlight. But it was fascinating to see it. It's a really interesting building. So if you are in Amsterdam, yeah, absolutely recommend the Amsterdam Dungeon. It is one of our favourites. It's one you can do when you book in. You can go into an English tour or a Dutch tour, so you don't have to worry about the language at all. But with that, we are going to sign off. I'll just say thank you once again to the team for Amsterdam Dungeon for letting us around inside. And we hope you found this video interesting. So with that, we're going to sign off and we'll see you soon.